Hey everyone, this is Ed from Stencil1. There's my sign. How's it going? This is Make It Mondays. It's my first video in this series and I am nervous and excited. I can't believe rolling this out. I think it's fun to connect with you and talk shop and do a little DIY stuff, get creative, and share those experiences. So let's get into it. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and my company is Stencil1. And for those of you who don't know, it seems like I dropped my connection there. Sorry. For those of you, I want to give you a little background. I started Stencil1 in 2004, and I started that out of my love and my hobby of creating stencils, and just did it as a hobby. I didn't think to start a brand or to start a business. So I'm going to share with you how I got that idea. If you hear any noise, I'm in Brooklyn, and guess what? Brooklyn's noisy. So let me shut this window. I'm back. Okay, so 12 years ago, I was running an art gallery here in Brooklyn, New York with a friend of mine named Sarah, and it was called Who Do We Appreciate? And it greatly sparked my interest in doing my own thing further and creating a stencil design book. That was my first vision. I wanted to make a book of stencils. I was buying a lot of stencil graffiti books, and none of these books had stencils in them. So what I did was I decided to take a lot of my stencil designs and bind them into a book and shop it around to publishers and see if that could fly. So I just had this design project idea. And what's cool is I still have that book and I made a prototype of the book. I called it Stencil1, and in it, this is literally spray painted the cover. It's cardboard. I gutted a binder that I got at a home supply store and put it as the what would hold the pages. And then I hand spray painted. I found a company that would laser cut my stencil designs, and I put these urban, sorry, the Wi-Fi keeps dropping. So here's the book, and that's what I shopped around, and publishers thought it was very cool, which encouraged me, but they said it would be very expensive to make. So I didn't get discouraged. I had been working as a web designer, so I put the designs on a website, stencil1.com, and started selling them individually, packing stencils from home in envelopes, and just started from there. And then I got a lot of nice press, and it picked up. And then I said, oh, I've got to get into stores and do trade shows and all that. So that's kind of how I started, and I hope that encourages you, because I've met a lot of people at events and trade shows that ask, how can I get started in business? And one girl I met who really I found so inspiring, she's like, here's some stencils I made, and I was like, get them on a website, get them for sale, and they were really nice. She had a lot of typography. So I think, you just start with what you got. So I want to, so that was from 2004. Then I'll show you some of the product here on the table. I'm going to flip the camera around, and then I'm going to do a demo with the stencils, where lately I'm not a very colorful person, so I've been trying to stretch that, and I have a new pineapple stencil, so I made this tote bag, and I'll show you how to get these ombre effects using fabric paint and that stencil. So this is never graceful. I'm going to flip the camera around and go over here onto the table. Okay, so you come with me, and we flip it. Okay, so let's look down here. Okay, so you'll see, well, first you'll see I always need coffee. So got that. And the stencils are 8.5 by 11 in my first collection. So they come like this now. They come in, they're laser cut mylar, and I've got urban imagery. This is actually my father's car that he left me, and it's a Ranchero, so I had to make a stencil of that. But I have things of birds and nature, again the urban imagery. I love deers, so this one people seem to like a lot, which makes me happy. And these are 2-layer stencils where... Sorry, Wi-Fi's dropping. 2-layer stencils, you paint the silhouette, then you paint the detail, which gives you nice dimensional effects. Then we have multiple packs, and these are for holiday making things. And here's the new pineapple, which I'm really excited about, and I'm going to use that later in a demo. But we have hundreds of designs online, so check those out. And we also offer these smaller stencils, which a lot of people like, and you see the detail. It's laser cut mylar. We have tons of patterns, which people like for mixed media projects, so check those out. And then these are what I'd say are a little more iconic imagery. I'm only showing you a sampling, but it's all over the place. Deers and headphones and birds and hearts. And then Halloween is coming, so I thought I'd show these, which I love the sugar skull, and lots of fun Halloween imagery, owls, bats. I love the bat. Halloween, Halloween, this lovely couple, and skeletons, Dracula, haunted houses, mummies. And then we also make these repeat patterns. This is a new one. I love African textiles, and this is a Kuba cloth print. So I think this would look great on a pillow. So you can use these on walls or pillows. People love this mum, and I love it too. It looks really nice repeated on a wall. Again, for textiles as well. And then we do things that don't repeat, or you could repeat them, but you know, deer skull on your wall. This would look cool in like metallic or something. And we also sell brushes. You need a good stencil brush. And these fabric inks are awesome. They're actually multi-surface, so they're for paper. They come in, these are the metallics, these are the day glows, and these are natural, like basic colors. So these are for paper projects or for fabric. They're great. And the books. So I didn't get what I wanted when I started the company, but a few years later, Chronicle Books approached me and said, let's do a book together. I was like, that's how I wanted to start. So the first book was Stencil 101, and then we rolled out these other titles after that, which I'm really proud of. This one is repeat patterns in a book. This one's card making. And then there's even a journal, so you have stencil imagery in here, and the front and back are stencils. Yes, I love stencils. So let's talk about the demo. There's a good place where I could paint. Now, I will be using the pineapple stencil, and what I've gone ahead and done is I have this tote bag, which I'm just going to use for the demonstration, and I put a piece of cardboard inside. Once I lay it down, you'll see that. Okay, so there's cardboard in here, and that's for two reasons. It's so that the paint doesn't seep through to the back, and so that we have a nice firm surface to paint on. And I went ahead I went ahead and put 2 colors of paint on a plate and it smeared, but oh well. So, okay, put this in here, this in here. One thing you should always use is some spray adhesive on the back of the stencil. So, in a well-ventilated area, you spray the back, and then you let it dry like 30 seconds or so, and then this gets it a little tacky. Oh, and make sure you buy the repositionable, it's a low tack adhesive. Don't buy the glue one or else you'll just glue this to your bag. So let's just start in the middle here. And just placing it where I want it. Sometimes if the design is close to the edge, you can put a piece of tape so that you don't color outside the lines. It's a little hard to see the white on the white, but once I get painting, I think you'll see it. Now, you could fill it in one color, and that's fun, but since this is a really summery vibe design, I thought I would teach you some ombre effects, and that would mean, in this case, it's going to blend from orange to yellow or yellow to orange. I think it's kind of modern and fun to not use a realistic color. You know, you could do a greenish yellow here and green leaves, and that's nice, but you know, let's go a little different with it. So this is fabric paint, and my number one thing I always say is take a lot of paint off of your brush so it's dry, and then in here you can tap up and down, or you could swirl it in. You're just filling in all of the cutout areas of the stencil, and what's nice with that adhesive is it's not shifting around, because fabric, you know, it might want to shift around. And so I filled in solid, and then here I'm like barely touching it, you know, I'm just putting it in so light because that's where I want to blend the color. And then I'm going to switch brushes. I use 2 brushes for 2 colors, and then up here I'm going to paint in the yellow. Pretty solid. And then you're sort of blending 2 colors on the fly rather than mixing the 2 colors on the plate. So what I do is I go down into the orange, and I paint the yellow over it and sort of pull it upward. So now you could already see it. You've got like bright yellow, the mix, a little more of the mix, and then the solid orange. And then you could just like barely touching it, pulling it upward. And I mean, it's that easy sometimes. Like I could see the blend really well. I might want more yellow to come down, so I might put a little more yellow here. And with a different plate, you could really dry it off a lot, pull it down more. Just want to see it blending. Something about that gives it that summer vibe. And I just noticed that this isn't all filled in up here, so I'll just fill it in with a clean brush. You could even do a 3rd color up top. You could just really make it like, you know, ombre from 3 colors. But that is the basic ombre effect. There you go. Looks pretty awesome. You could definitely see the color differences there. And I had an art teacher in high school, no, it was grammar school, who said 1 image is boring. So I kind of like that she said that, even though I didn't like her so much, because she was kind of a weirdo, but so you just do it again, and you could you could wash the stencil and do other colors, or you could do the same thing you just did. What's nice about repeating what you just did is you have a guide now. You're like, okay, I did orange here, I blended it here, I have yellow here. So you can create that same effect. If your brush got too blended though, you might want to wash that or use another brush and then wash the whole pack at the end so that it goes nice here. I'm just gonna use a new brush. Whoops. Let's start again. Now, these are fabric paints I like a lot. And if you don't have fabric paint at home, you could buy what they call a fabric medium, and you can mix it with your paints and it becomes fabric paint. So that's a tip to save you some money. But again, I'm doing the yellow up top and orange below. And then you go light. And then here I can sort of mix the two in a circular motion. It's another way to do it. So you get the hint. There you go. And so I think the whole bag being filled with pineapples would look really cool. So that's how you do that. I want to show you another little trick with these new animal stencils I'm releasing. Here's a painting I did for my nephew. He just moved into a new house and I thought he'd like these animals. So I have these new little animals, elephant, lion, rhino, zebra, and they're not 2-layer stencils, but I'm going to show you how I painted the one color behind and then did the stencil over it. So one thing I love to paint on is cardboard. So it really makes practice affordable, and you get your techniques down by practicing on cardboard. So I'm gonna just tape this in place. I really recommend starting on cardboard. So while this is fabric paint, I'll just use it on the cardboard because it works on here as well. So I want it to look like a 2-layer stencil, but it's a 1-layer stencil, right? So the silhouette would be a lighter color, and then the detail would be a darker color because the detail is shadow based. I hope that makes sense. So what I do is I paint the stencil with a lighter color first. I could just, since this is practice. So I fill the stencil in with the yellow. Rather roughly. And then, doesn't matter if you get all the detail, it's kind of to get the outline. And then using that guide, I take a regular paintbrush and I paint in that shape. So this is becoming the silhouette, and I used the detailed stencil as my guide to tell me where does the stencil begin and end, essentially. So fill it all in. And I have this certain look to my work that I think is pretty, where The base layer is rough looking and sometimes goes out of the lines, and then the detail grounds it all, let's say. So gets a more painterly look to it. So what I'm saying is you can be messy. So you have this yellow silhouette. It's drying very fast. And then when we put this over top, you let that dry, and then you put this over top, and now you have that yellow outline of the animal, and then you could put the detail in top. And I think instead of using the orange that I started, I'll use something a little darker so you see it. I'll use some blue. Now I didn't put its adhesive, but I could have, but I'm just doing a quickie for you here. But I do see the stencil wants to ride up a little. But if it's riding up, you know what I like to do? I like to do an up and down motion. I'm basically pushing the stencil down. And this makes you get that crisp lines. Because our designs are very detailed with the laser. We can really get these wrinkles of the elephant and the eye of the elephant, and if you go lightly with the paint, then you'll get the benefit of seeing all those details in your painting. And I say painting, but you could be making a painting, you could be making this on a t-shirt. So just tapping, it's a little annoying. To have a colorful animal. Okay. Let's see what I did. Oh my gosh, I love it. So he's a yellow and blue elephant. So those are my two big demos for the day, and I'm going to continue the series throughout the year. So every Monday I'll be doing a how-to, so you can learn how to use the stencils and other creative things. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next Monday for Make It Mondays 2. Thank you.